so much for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lakeisha Jackson.
My name is Alexander Harrison. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I'm suffering with like PTSD. And when I got out the war and stuff, I was into drugs. You know, I was like a drug addict. And I couldn't stay sober because my symptoms were at the point where I was dealing with my PTSD symptoms, but I get high because I tried not to deal with my pain. And I was going to VA hospital for a while for therapy. And during the time I was going to therapy, I still had a hard time trying to stay sober. They kept telling me, say, go to TIHDI Island to a program, 2-year program. I said to myself, I said, 2 years? That's a long time. I don't feel like going to a 2-year program. But I could not stay sober, so I knew I needed help. So I decided, I said, okay, I'm going to go to the 2-year program.
How I came about, I'm a single parent. I have an 18-year-old son. I've been here on the island for 7 years. Prior to moving here to the island, I was married, and that's the beginning of my story. I was a victim, but I like to say a victor now, of domestic violence. And it wasn't just physically, it was emotionally and mentally. And like so many women, unfortunately, I depended on my ex for everything. Financially, mentally, emotionally, I depended on him to support my son and I for everything. And it just got to a point in the relationship after being physically abused for X amount of years, I couldn't take it anymore. And it became really bad towards the end where I was hospitalized for 4 months. And as a result of being hospitalized, he was incarcerated. After being incarcerated, when I was released from the hospital, I was behind in my bills, behind in my rent, because I wasn't working at the time. And he was incarcerated, and so I was faced with an eviction, and I applied for public assistance. It wasn't nearly enough to pay for my rent and everything else. And so I applied for emergency housing, and thank God I received Section 8. It took about maybe a year and a half, and during that time I was evicted. My son and I were in and out of shelters, living with different relatives. It was really hard for us, being homeless for a year and a half. At that time we were on the waiting list, and finally something came available, and this is how we came about as far as moving here to Treasure Island. And so the program has helped me immensely as far as, number one, my self-esteem, my confidence, and having people believe in you. It helps you to believe in yourself. And so the support has helped me tremendously. Being stable, having a roof over my head, my son's head, for that year and a half, it seemed like it was forever. And as I said, it's very difficult when you're living out of bags and you're living in shelters, and you can't really sleep because you have to keep one eye open because you're around strange people and you don't know these people, and you have to look out not only for yourself but for your child as well. And you're living with relatives, and they're being helpful and trying to be supportive, but at the same time they have their own issues. So just being stable, just having a roof over my head, and being in a community where people do care for you, you have programs that support you in so many different ways. It helps tremendously because you're not alone.
Well, it's improved my life a whole lot, you know. Like I was saying in the beginning, when I came here, I was supposed to be in a 2-year program. I wasn't too sure about that. But then, after I was in the program for a while, I got kind of comfortable in the program. But one thing about the program is that they still allow me to take care of my other business, go downtown and stuff. And by me having a drug problem, it was kind of hard for me in the beginning because When I just go downtown and take care of my business, this and that, I still see people get low. So I had a hard time dealing with that because I still was in stabilization, trying to get my life together. It's up to me to get my life together if I really want it together. So they gave me the opportunity to go where I want to go. Now, if I want to hang myself and go back to drugs, that's on me. They had the workshop where the point where the guy come in and say, well, he also can help me with my credit report and stuff. And the guy, he would talk so good, I ain't lying. He was talking so good. To me, he got a gift of gab, the way he talked. I said, this guy sounds too good. I'm not, by me being out on the street, I heard that before, you know. So I went down with the bank account, and then the guy started talking with me about my credit report. And the same guy who I thought talked so good that I wasn't too sure about, he put himself in action with me. He really showed me that the stuff he was talking is real stuff. So I've been saving 7% of my money. Now I'm able to move out now. I'm able to transfer this out with the opportunity to get me a place and live on my own now. You know? So the money management part helped me a whole lot, and also social privacy helped me a whole lot with my addiction problem. So now I'm in stabilization. I'm in phase 3, ready to move out, and I'm kind of ready now because been here 17 months, I had opportunity to get my life together. I feel like I got it together now.
Well, pretty much the same as Alexander. I was going to the money management workshops, and I opened up a checking and savings with Spectrum, and I have been also working with creditors. At first I was really nervous about it, not knowing. I was totally ignorant to the process. You know, I've been avoiding it for quite some time, especially being after my divorce. I was left with quite a bit of debt. And so I was relieved to actually, after so many years of avoiding it, finally sit down and look at the credit reports. And from there we started calling the creditors, and I was negotiating with them, and as a result I have about maybe 3 or 4 more creditors on my report. Yes, so I'm really excited about that. So that's a big accomplishment for me. And from there I was going to the business workshops, money management workshops, and as I had mentioned, I opened up the checkings and the savings with Spectrum, and so I have a secured credit card on the way. So that's a good thing. And then at the same time with TIHDI, in the midst of all of that, I went to a business class that you guys had offered, and I received my completion here that I'm very proud of through TIHDI. It's business development, business management, and so this was something that I received last year in November of 2008. So this is one of my long-term goals, is to eventually have a small business. So this has given me the motivation and the means to know how to successfully be an entrepreneur and businesswoman. So I'm very excited, and I'm most grateful for TIHDI, because to think that when I first came to the program, I isolated myself, no self-esteem, no confidence, and here I am now going to workshops and actually doing things, you know, something that's productive. So I am very happy with myself and very happy with TIHDI.